Let me ask you something. What if the end of life wasn't really an end at all? What if it was a final, perfect union with the very source of reality? Today, we are diving deep into an ancient mystical concept that honestly reframes everything we think we know about life and death. We're going to uncover the hidden architecture of existence and learn about a choice that determines not just how we live, but how we depart.
All right, I want you to just picture this scene for a moment. This isn't a picture of tragedy, not at all. It's one of ultimate completion, a life that ends not in a fight, but in this gentle, serene release. Now, according to ancient wisdom, this isn't just some beautiful poetry. It's a description of a real spiritual process, a departure so pure it's called the kiss of God. But how is that even possible? What's the hidden mechanism that allows a soul to completely bypass the forces of decay? That's the mystery we are unraveling today.
So, to really get our heads around this, we have to go way back. Not just to the beginning of a life, but to the beginning of creation itself. Because right at the dawn of existence, a fundamental choice was put on the table, a spiritual crossroads that defines every single moment of our lives. And this choice, well, it's symbolized by two cosmic trees. On one side, you've got the tree of life, the Etz Chaim. This represents the path of pure, unadulterated unity with the divine source. And on the other side, there's the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the Ez Hada'at Tov Ra. Now, this is the path of duality, of separation, a world that's fractured into all these opposites. According to the Zohar, pretty much every choice we make, big or small, is connecting our soul to one of these two fundamental cosmic energies. Now, let's be super clear here. The tree of life isn't just a nice metaphor. The ancient texts tell us it's the very substance of Torah, the blueprint of reality itself. Think of it like a direct line to the divine, a source of pure, unmediated life force. To cling to this tree is to plug into a reality that exists beyond death. Its very nature is one of absolute purity and unity, a dimension where all the decay and the static of our world, it just can't exist. And then you've got the flip side, the tree of knowledge. This represents the world as we usually experience it, a place of constant division. Good versus evil, life versus death. The Zohar calls this a reality of many calculations, just endless complexity and change. And it's our attachment to this constantly shifting, unstable reality that actually introduces mortality. Its defining trait is that her feet go down to death. It is, to put it simply, the system of entropy.
And this is where it all just clicks into place. Listen to this quote from the great Kabbalist Rabbi Chaim Vital. He completely reframes the whole story of Eden. The huge mistake, he says, wasn't just eating some fruit. It was choosing the wrong network. It was a failure to connect with the system of eternal life, the tree of life, which he says is the inner wisdom of Kabbalah. This changes humanity's story into an ongoing choice. Which tree are we plugging into, right now, in this moment?
Okay, so we've got these two big opposing cosmic systems. But how do they actually work? How is all this divine energy structured? To understand that, we need to pull back the curtain and look at the blueprint of creation itself, the very architecture of the tree of life. The building blocks of this divine architecture are called the Sephirot, and this is absolutely key. These are not just points on some static diagram. You've got to think of them as 10 dynamic, living vessels or channels. It's through these Sephirot that divine consciousness flows down, creating and sustaining everything that exists. They're the very nodes on the network of the tree of life. So how does the energy actually move through this system? Well, the process starts way up at the highest level, with this pure seed of potential, an insight called chokmah, or wisdom. From there, that energy flows down, and as you can see in the center, it gets balanced through the core of Tiferet, which is all about harmony and beauty. And finally, that balanced, beautiful energy manifests and becomes real right here in our physical world, in the Sephirot of Malkut, the kingdom. That's the divine creative process right there, from a thought to harmony to actual reality. And the Kabbalists didn't just use words. They also used these incredibly powerful symbols, like colors, to describe the qualities of this energy. Now, as the table shows, we're not talking about literal colors, but deep metaphors. Chesed, or kindness, is represented by white, that pure light of just boundless giving. Its opposite, Gevurah, or severity, is red, symbolizing restriction and judgment. But when you balance those two perfectly, you get Tiferet, symbolized by green, the perfect harmony that is the very essence of life force itself. But here's the thing. Just as there is this perfect, divine network of the tree of life, there's an opposing system, a corrupted network that is constantly trying to divert that flow of life force,
to pull the soul away from its source and drag it into the realm of separation and decay. And this creates a constant battle, not out there in the cosmos somewhere, but right here, inside of us.
The sources call the payload from this corrupted system Zohama, which is like a spiritual filth or impurity. The Gate of Incarnations explains that this stuff was injected into the system at the very beginning by the primordial serpent. And this impurity, it forms a klippa, a shell or a husk around the soul. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like spiritual plaque that builds up around our spiritual arteries. It just obscures our inner light and blocks a clean connection to our divine source. And where does this battle play out? Right inside the human heart. The Sephirot describes the heart as having two chambers, and each one is basically a port for one of these cosmic networks. The right side is the home of the Yetzer HaTov, the good inclination, and it draws its energy directly from the tree of life. The left side, though, is the home of the Yetzer HaHara, the evil inclination, and it's pulling its energy from the other side, that whole system of duality and death. Every single action, every thought, is basically an act of giving power to one of these two sides within us.
Okay, so let's put all of this in modern terms. Think of the tree of life, the Torah, as a direct, encrypted, fiber optic line straight to the main server of reality. When you're connected to it, you have a secure, authenticated connection. Simple. The other side, the serpent system, it's like a corrupted public Wi-Fi network. You know, the kind full of malware, spyware, and phishing scams, all designed to intercept your data, your life force, and redirect it for its own purposes. So, clinging to the tree of life means you just bypass all those corrupted layers and establish a clean, direct channel.
And all of this whole cosmic architecture, this battle for connection, it brings us right back to that opening scene. What happens at the end of a life that has been lived in constant, secure connection to that core server? What is the ultimate climax of this whole journey? This is where we arrive at one of the most profound and frankly beautiful concepts in all of mystical thought. It's called Mita Beneshika, which literally means death by a kiss. And this is not an end, it's the ultimate transcendence. It describes the departure of a soul that is so purely connected to the tree of life that the forces of the other side, and that includes the angel of death, they have no claim over it. The soul isn't taken, it's drawn. It's a graduation, not a termination. The texts get incredibly intimate here when they describe this state. They make a point to distinguish it from any physical union. They call it rucha berucha, or spirit in spirit. This is a direct merging of the soul's essence, its very breath, with the divine breath. A perfect, loving reunion at the level of pure consciousness. It's just wow. So what's actually happening here? Under the hood, what are the mechanics of this? Well, it all starts with the life lived in Deveku, this constant, loving attachment to God. And because of this lifelong bond, the soul isn't ripped out by some external force. No. It's gently drawn out by the very divine source it's been connected to all along. This is the final perfect alignment with unity, a total departure from the world of separation. The mystics even say that a soul in this state becomes a source of spiritual delight for the divine presence itself. I know these are incredibly deep concepts, so to make them even more concrete and really lock them in, let's try to translate this entire cosmic process into a couple of modern analogies. We're going to look at this through two different lenses. One for the inner child in all of us, the video game player, and one for the systems thinker, the cosmic engineer. Okay, first up, the video game version. Imagine your life is this epic role-playing game. Your whole quest is to level up your soul. And how do you do that? By gathering wisdom points, which are the Torah and its commandments. Now, at the end of the game, most players have to face the final boss, the angel of death. It's a tough battle. But if you've leveled up your soul enough, if your connection stat is maxed out, you don't even fight the boss. You unlock a secret exit, a hidden portal. It's a peaceful exit condition, a flawless, victorious ascension to the next level of reality. It's not game over, it's the ultimate high score. All right, now for the cosmic engineering version. Think of your soul as a complex operating system running on the hardware of your body. A life connected to the tree of knowledge is like running bloated, buggy software, and you're constantly picking up malware, those klipot. At the end of its life cycle, that system inevitably crashes. It's a forced termination. But a life connected to Torah, that's a process of constantly updating and integrating your personal OS with the universe's core architecture. So death by kiss, in this analogy, is not a system crash. It's a clean, root-level shutdown command, a graceful exit. All the processes are terminated cleanly, and your core data, your consciousness, is transferred directly and perfectly to the main server, the divine, bypassing all the corrupted files and network interference.
And that brings this entire, huge cosmic drama right down to a very personal, very present choice. We've mapped out two networks, two fundamental ways of being. One leads to fragmentation, decay, and an eventual system crash. The other leads to unity, to life, and to a perfect, peaceful transfer. So the question that all this ancient wisdom leaves us with is this: if your soul has a choice between two networks, which one are you logging into today?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.